Greetings, friends out there. We're gathered together here today in a very special kind of an AA meeting, one that was dreamed up by my friends at the headquarters, and the thought was that we would discuss the AA traditions. I like this idea because, as you know, it's been impossible for Lois and me to travel extensively in AA and to contact you as we used to. It strikes us that films of this sort may be the very best bet. Of course, one thing I like about this AA meeting in particular is that I'm assigned to do all of the talking. I still have some vestiges of ego. Speaking of ego, this had a great deal to do with the formation of AA's tradition in the first place. As every AA knows, we shall always be threatened by menacing forces within, and certainly in the world of great peril in which we live today, by menacing forces without. So, a very prime problem, the prime problem of AA is first how to survive, and then to grow and prosper in numbers and in spiritual substance over the years to come. As practically every hearer knows, the traditions are the application of AA's 12 steps, the spirit of those steps, to the practical problems of living and working together as a harmonious society, of rightly relating ourselves to those forces which have so often torn societies apart, the problems of money, problems of power, of prestige, of management of properties, and so on. As I look over the list of traditions, I am frankly flabbergasted at the choices, apparently rather successful choices of principles that we have made. I might remind you that the AA's 12 Steps to Recovery, first appearing in 1939 in the Big Book, are now 30 years old, and they have served us extremely well. The traditions now approach 25 years since their publication in 46. And they, too, have served us well. And while there is great room for interpretation of these principles, and the applications are innumerable, the solid substance of each remains still about as written. So these are reassuring facts about the traditions. People, in looking at the traditions, find very clear statements, and yet, paradoxically, some of them are baffling. Newcomers ask these questions. They say, what do you mean? There are no rules, regulations here? What do you mean? I'm a member if I say so. What do you mean? Nobody can run this thing permanently? What do you mean? There are no penalties or punishment? What do you mean? There's no public controversy. Every society is mixed up with public controversy, and drunks love to controverse. What do you mean, no controversy? Et cetera, et cetera. So, the thing that is not so well understood among AAs generally, and among our friends, is why we selected these particular principles and how they came into being. And few at this time, now that we are of this age, remember today the tremendous struggles that we had among us in trying to come to these decisions. And because I occupied a place happening to be the number one elder in the thing, and Dr. Bob number two, we were especially in the middle of all of this. Now, Dr. Bob was inherently a much more spiritually qualified person than I. And very naturally, because he was a doctor, he took to this marvelous 12-step job along with Ignatia out there. And he very cheerfully turned over to me the writing and the speaking and the headquarters in New York and that sort of thing. We had a division of labors. So that I especially was subjected to very great personal temptations. In other words, most of these traditions actually run counter to some of my early and sometimes secret aims. And some of this stuff I'd like to share with you because it is relevant to all who follow us oldsters. These temptations will recur time and time and time again. So I think that perhaps I'd like to share some of this sort of thing with you. Against this background, let's have a look at the 12 traditions themselves. Here's the first one. Our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends upon AA unity. This is a prudent reminder. Indeed, it is a stern warning that unless AA continues to live, the greater part of us would surely die. And so would the countless alcoholics that we might have helped. This is why the general welfare must come first. Without unity and harmonious action, we shall have nothing at all. I can make no more effective statement about the welfare tradition than the one to be seen in our AA publication, 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. As a suitable preamble, setting the pitch and tone of the discussion to follow, let me share this with you. The unity of Alcoholics Anonymous is the most cherished quality that our society has. Our lives, the lives of all to come, depend squarely upon it. We stay whole or AA dies. Without unity, the heart of AA would cease to beat. Our world arteries would no longer carry the life-giving grace of God. His gift to us would be spent aimlessly. Back